Hello, everyone. Welcome to Choose Your Own Adventure, Journey to Wellbeing, week number 2. We are heading into all things weight loss, but before we do, I'll introduce myself and all of our incredible girls that are on. Women, sophisticated, beautiful women. My name's Alila. This is me. Well, this is me, but this is also me. I am a mama of 3 beautiful little ones. I am a health coach, an NLP coach, and all those other things. But what I'm most proud of is the Sisterhood Society and everything that we do in this hub and collective community. For those of you watching the recording, you won't get to see the chats, but hopefully I will be able to chat because you'll see just how many incredible women are on this and in the sisterhood and who support each other way beyond what is just the norm of online groups. So like I said, we're into week 2, weight loss. Last week we had week 1, gut health. So if you haven't seen that, make sure you grab a link for that and have a little watch. I do want to say though, although I have a lot of qualifications, really, I'm here to share my journey, my stories, other people's, and my knowledge. I'm not a doctor. So if you have any issues that go beyond the scope of what we're talking about, please go to your chosen healthcare professional. Okay, we're talking weight loss. So as you guys know, I love to give you a bit of science. And we're going to kick that off with talking about what is fat, right? Because actually a lot of people don't know. So our human body is made up of muscle tissue. There's essential fat. We obviously need fat in our body. And then non-essential fat. So that's fat that's stored. Then we've got bones and organs, right? So there is, an absolute place for fat. It gets such a bad rap, but fat is good. Excess stored fat is where we run into problems. So I'm also going to chat a little bit about visceral fat because that's the real danger. And I want to really explain that. So everybody has fat. Everyone, like all other cells in the body, it all has a cell membrane and a nucleus, and its bulk is made up of stored triglycerides, so fats, right? And there's 3 fatty chain molecules attached to every single glycerol molecule. So, basically long and short of it, it is its own thing. It's kind of like you can think about fat as just being an invader, and in ways it is, but it is another cell, much like everything else. And that's why for people that have been carrying weight for a longer period of time may have a little bit more trouble to get it off because it's sort of welcomed itself home in your body. So something that I really want to talk about is visceral fat, and we'll talk about that a little bit in a moment. But this is an actual scan of someone, and you can see that inner fat. So you can see the organs, and you can see that stuff that's around the organ. So they sometimes call this skinny fat because you can actually be skinny to look at and have visceral fat. So it actually doesn't matter, how you look from the outside. And this is a big reason why heart attacks and things are on the increase with men, and even men in their 50s and 40s who look otherwise healthy. And it has a lot to do with this visceral fat. And I'll show you a little bit more of what that looks like. Sorry, should have given you a bit of a warning. This is a healthy heart, and this is a heart that's covered in that visceral fat. So you can see, like it literally attaches itself to things like any other cells would. And this is something that is literally choking that heart. It's a bit confronting to look at, but it's important to look at because where people look at weight loss as being so aesthetic, it's important to understand it goes so far beyond that, and this is a heart, which obviously heart attack, there obviously, sadly, but it's a lot of other organs that are having these issues. I spoke last week about the gut being that whole area, and about non-alcohol fatty liver disease. Same thing. It's a fat that there's just too much fat in the body, and as it carries through the blood, it's going to attach itself like it has here. So I'm going to give you the grim, and then we're going to get to the good. Okay, so Australia is in a very bad place. 1 in 2 Aussies have a chronic disease, and those chronic diseases are mainly things like cardiovascular disease, cancer, diabetes, and they are the leading causes of illness, disability, and death. And disability because, people forget with diabetes, it's not just the death that can come, this is type 2, but there is, the eyesight loss, sometimes limbs loss, there's so much injury that doesn't get included in this kind of death rate, right? Almost 1/3 of that can be prevented. It's all people doing it to themselves, you know, and that's things from obviously smoking, high body mass, alcohol, physical inactivity, and high blood pressure. High blood pressure, obviously, a lot to do with exactly that heart that you just saw, you know. And despite all of that, only 1.5% of health spending is dedicated to prevention. So people aren't getting this message at all. And even just now, my husband and I were reading an article just 10 minutes ago about how I said during lockdown here in Melbourne that a lot of cancer, a lot of diabetes, a lot of heart disease would not have been picked up during lockdown because people wouldn't have gone and got tests done. I know firsthand 2 people who were on wait lists for things that, you know, really they should have got into straight away. And sure enough, the articles come out today that 2,500 in Victoria alone, Victoria only, 2,500 cancer cases were missed during our lockdown that they know thus far. You know, so there's still going to be a lot more than that. And I mean, that's talking cancer, but it's going to be huge with things like cardiovascular disease and diabetes because of that lockdown, because of that more sedentary lifestyle. So it's a big issue and it's not getting any better. It's getting worse. And I think that it's like there needs to be a stronger message, but there also needs to be a stronger mindset in Australians. So the stats are pretty much the same in the UK for you guys over there, and they're obviously the same, a little bit worse in America. But this is, you know, a huge issue, and it needs to get into people very quickly. Okay. So your body, I love talking about this because people go, where does fat go? So it actually disposes of fat. So when you're burning through fat through a series of different metabolic pathways, right? So they're a byproduct of your fat metabolism leaving your body. So it goes through as water. It can leave as water through your skin when you sweat, and your kidneys. So you actually wee out fat. And as carbon dioxide when you breathe it out. So you actually sweat it out, wee it out, and breathe it out, crazily enough. It's a big reason why sleep is hugely important. When we sleep, we actually allow our muscles to grow and our breath, and as we wee then in the morning, to burn through fat. We'll go into a sort of state of ketosis, a state of fasting when we sleep, right? So in saying all of that, though, I really want, for those of you who are on this or watching this because you're wanting to lose weight and you've gotten to a point, and we're going to share some great stories in a minute, but I hear this so often and I really need to say it. Exercise is not going to help you lose weight. It isn't. Obviously exercise is incredible, right? And we're going to go into this in one of our weeks. You know, for so many reasons. Obviously sweating, your mental health, your gut health, like everything. Exercise is great. I'm not saying that. But it really is, it's not so much the 80-20 rule even anymore. It really is that your diet controls your body fat and your exercise controls your shape and obviously your cardiovascular health and things like that. So it's really important to understand that, first of all. Also, cardio, while you're in the mode of cardio, your carbon dioxide is breathing this fat out, but only in that time period, and maybe a couple of minutes after, but you have to be working at a very high level, right? Whereas when you're doing weights, you're actually increasing your muscle mass, which increases your metabolism, which helps you burn more fat while you sleep. And you're burning for a good sort of 12 hours after, depending on your session, depending on if you're a female, male, et cetera, et cetera. So there is such a place for weights. Obviously, the combination of getting that heart rate up and weights is obviously the key. But it's just really important to note, you know, that weights is obviously going to help you to burn fat so much more. So a little history lesson. Are you guys all still there? Good. So this little machine is how they first figured out calories, okay? So what they did was they calculated the content of food using a large piece of machinery. This is called the bomb calorimeter, they called it. The process involved, basically, they put a sample of food in, they burn it, it's a burning machine, and they measure how much it burns up the food, right? And that was how a calorie was first created. So they knew that fat took longer, carbs were quick, you know, so there's all these things that then they could see that the calories of things. You'll notice that calories in carbs are quite low versus like calories in food, right? There's 2 grams of there's 2 calories per gram, of in carbohydrate and in protein, but there's 8 in fats. So fats obviously taking a lot longer to burn through, right? So that's how the first calorie thing came about. Then entered this woman, Lulu. Isn't she gorgeous? She was 1920s, Los Angeles. She's a doctor. She's done all the science. She wore the full flapper dresses, her hair in the thing you can see. Like, she was as 1920s as it got, right? And she became the first ever kind of guru of diets, right? She studied massively with the scientists that whole calorie burning theory. And she was also kind of a little bit crazy. She would say, because it was wartime, she would say, in wartime, it is a crime to hoard food, and fines and imprisonment have followed the expose of such practices. Yet there are hundreds of thousands of individuals all over America who are hoarding food, and that is one of the most precious of all foods. They have vast amounts of this valuable commodity stored away in their own anatomy. So she was quite ruthless as to women and men who had a lot of weight on them, meant that they were hoarding food, so she was quite ruthless and everything, but she taught this theory. She was the first to ever go into a lot of areas with war and sort of say to them, look, you need to be getting this amount of calories in to survive. And she became the first one to ever sort of talk about calories in a logical sense to people, and not just in that science sense, that where a calorie was the same as talking about a gram or some other kind of modality. So, all right, we know all of that now. Okay, I want to go into, so you know a little bit of the history now, okay, of where those things came from, because you'll hear calories a lot, and it is important and it isn't, okay. And then also we're looking at the fact that everybody is different, and we're going to talk about that in a second too. Bio-individuality, that one person's food's another's poison. The fact that we are all built entirely different, and you'll hear me say this in every single week, but our genetics load the gun. It's up to us in our lifestyle that pulls the trigger. So there is still that loaded gun. Of course, there is still so much else that's going on, especially in women, right? We have hormones. We have a central nervous system, which is, being run to the ground. And I really want to touch on this. And I just put this picture up because I was going to write it. And I was like, no, I just really need to say, this. But, I will come back to this in every week, and I said it last week in gut health, the fun you have in your life, the joy you have, how you're showing up in your life, the laughter, you dancing, like we were talking about last week with gut health, humming, singing, breath work, yoga, all these fun practices that are literally helping your gut microbiome, right? The same is true with weight loss. I was talking to a friend the other day, and I've got my own story in this, but she was saying that her husband and her were doing the same diet. He was losing all this weight and she was losing nothing. And they were wearing, it's a new thing that you can wear. It shows if you're burning carbohydrate or fat. It's basically showing if you're in a fat burning state or not. And he was just always fine and she wasn't. And she was getting so sick of it. And she was getting like religious with her food and religious with her diet. And then she's had this day where she's like, I'm just done for the minute. And so she was dancing in the kitchen with her kids and just having fun and cooking dinner. And all of a sudden her thing went off and said that she was burning fat now instead of carbohydrate. And that right there is a perfect example of how our central nervous system can control what we're releasing and what we're not. Now, you won't hear this as much in men at all. This is a very female-based thing, and it's that fight or flight response. And it's because women are, the best way I can explain it, I said it again to my husband this morning, and you should go and tell it to all your partners if you have them, is the fact that women are constantly in this fight or flight all the time. We've got a million tabs open. We feel the energies from a million people, right? Now, it is like turning on the car and putting the car in park, and have the handbrake up, but flooring the gas. We are burning through all of our gas, but we're not going anywhere. All we're doing is breaking the car down. You just sit there with the handbrake on, absolutely pedal to the metal, flooring it. You're going to go through all the petrol in that car and you're going to damage the shit out of that car. That's how us women are living these days. There is too much stress. There's financial pressures. I could go on and on. We should just do a whole week on that, right? But it's important to know, because releasing that handbrake goes beyond just what we're eating. It goes beyond exercise. It goes beyond a lot of that. And it's really important to know that a lot of that comes in the joy that we're having in our lives, the fun that we're having. My sister and I go on sister moons every year, and we went to Hawaii a few years back, and we were down the North Shore. We just had this Airbnb little shack that had no electricity really, no television, nothing, and we just had so much fun. We were there for 6 days. First couple of days I freaked out because I was missing the kids and feeling very like, oh my God, I'm on the other side of the world. And then I just started to relax and just enjoy the sun, enjoy the surf, enjoy, whatever. But we were drinking beer. One of my favorite beers is in Hawaii, every day, all day. Fish tacos, amazing nachos, like the best food. Lots of it, right? So technically I should have come back from that trip having gained weight. I lost 5 or so kilos in that week. Now, in science, that would be like how you were just having so much of these bad foods, right? And it comes down to exactly what we were talking about, this central nervous system. So this is where I wanted to segue this, I guess, because I want you to understand, if you're watching this and you're going, I've tried everything, I'm sick to death of everything, I'm going to give you some solutions in a minute. But the other part is just take a breath. Just take a freaking breath and give yourself a second, because there is so much going on in your life. I'm sure there's so much going on in mine, and that is stored in the body big time. So give yourself a chance there. If your body is not feeling like working out, just don't push it. There's going to be magic in that. And don't listen to some guy tell you, no, it's sweat. The secret is sweat. You got to move it or you'll lose it. Blah, 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 blah. It actually doesn't apply to women. And, I will spend my entire life, bringing that home. So with all of that kind of said, and again, we're doing weight loss is the biggest. I mean, we could literally be here for a whole day talking this. And in fact, there is many, many campaigns that, seminars that people do go to. So what the bloody hell do I eat? What the bloody hell do I do is basically what I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, right? So bioindividuality, I spoke about it before. It's a fundamental concept that, it's beautiful and profound in the sense that, and it's a big part of what I do in my sort of integrative approach to nutrition, that while we share so many similarities in our body, we're also very, very different and unique. So that's why one thing isn't necessarily going to apply to somebody else, and we all need to recognize that a lot more in ourselves, right? But here is what we know to be true, and you'll hear me say science a lot. Nutrition and exercise even is the only science in the world that can be argued. I talk about this all the time, that every other science, it is what it is. The moon is this big, this is that, this pen is 10 centimeters, whatever. Like, it's science, it is what it is. It's accurate to the actual decimal point accurate. Nutrition is not. No one knows. This is why it changes all the time. This is why it's exhausting and saturated. But this is what we know to be true, that any hardcore vegan or hardcore keto or whatever could get together and at least agree that we all need macronutrients, right? Protein, fats, and carbs. Now, we need to stop demonizing one of these. So, for example, keto is demonizing the carbs. The high carb, that shouldn't be a G, that should be a C, but high carb, low fat is your hardcore vegan. So, they demonize fats completely, no fats. We've got to stop doing that. We need all of them. Why would they exist if we didn't? It's ridiculous, right? We need real food. Obviously, if you can't fish it, farm it, pluck it from the ground and pull it from a tree, don't have it. And this goes on way beyond what we can comprehend as far as, just eating real food. It goes into all sorts of gut microbiome. That goes into what certain nutrients are doing at certain points in your body. It's again about going within and knowing intuitively, right? We need nutritional support these days. We do. And I actually deleted them just before. I had like 10 slides on soil. I thought, you guys, I'm like, bring a glass of wine, sit back, relax. All right, we're going to give you a lecture on soil. But our soil is so depleted from over farming, from chemicals. We could go on about it. But the long and the short of it is that a bowl of spinach has 4 times more nutrients 50 years ago. It's very minimal nutrients now. Tomatoes had about 55% more calcium and iron back then than they do now. So they've got very, very little now. So we cannot sit there and eat 10 bowls of tomatoes to try to catch up to that, or 4 bowls more spinach. Like, we're already busy enough in this life. So we know that we're going to need nutritional support. End of story. That's it. We cannot continue just doing the whole, no, it's fine to eat real food. It isn't. And a lot of you sisters in here, yeah, sisters in here will be able to attest to that, right? But our lives are busier, our brains are processing more than ever before, and our hormones in that stress, fight or flight more than ever before, you know. So we are taking in 2 million bits of information each second. Obviously, we filter all of that, and we're only really taking in about 7, give or take a few chunks, through a whole bunch of stuff that I can go into at another time. But, you know, our brains are overwhelmed. So we definitely need support there more than ever before. So a little word on carbs, because it's the word that everyone loves to talk about. So yeah, sugar and complex carbs, not great. We all know that. Bad sugar and complex carbs. It's not okay to say that all carbs are bad. A sweet potato, for example, or a potato or a pumpkin or something, you know, or that all sugar's bad. So many people, you know, didn't have fruit. And I can put my hands up here and say I went a good 10 years. This is really sad, but a good 10 years before I got pregnant with my first baby and craved fruit like never before, and realized, holy shit, this is, my body's craving fruit. Fruit is amazing. There's a reason my pregnant body is craving fruit. But I didn't have a piece of fruit for 10 years. I was like, no carbs at all. This is, you know, and so there's no wonder after having my firstborn, I got massive adrenal fatigue. There was absolutely no, you know, that's a whole story I'll tell you guys about one day. But you know, it took me down this path to really understand the body. So when we're not having a lot of, you know, when we're having too much complex carbs and sugars, I think you guys all know what that means by now. All the shit that's not, you know, not made in a plant, you know, from a plant, not made in a plant, it's going to turn it into fat, and it's going to store it as fat. 100%. And insulin really acts like a traffic light. So insulin is your lollipop man, you know, they're like, when there's traffic and they say like, go, stay, that's insulin. And so this is why we'll talk a little bit about cleansing and why that's so important, because it allows that insulin man to go green on all the bad to leave the body. Get out of here. Leave. You're not welcome. But obviously it's ridiculous to say that all carbs are bad. I hope that you guys know that, but I know that there will be some people watching the recording who are thinking, no, I've got to try and keep on with this keto thing. I've got to keep going with this. You know, yes, bad carbs are going to get stored in your body, 100%. All right. Now we have 3 incredible ladies who are going to share with you tonight. I'm just going to find them on here. And this says, so I'm writing their names like that in lights because these girls need to be freaking shared and loved upon and just, you know, absolutely celebrated, and they've become best friends of mine and I just bloody love them. So Annette Sarah on now, and she hopefully will come up in a sec. Hey babe, you're muted, so just unmute yourself. Hello darling.
You got me?
I got you. Oh no, I've got lost you. Oh, there we go. But you're muted again. So tell us about your journey. So this was only over the space of how many months?
Okay, so when did I start? I started in July. I started for the first July reset. And the most recent photo was literally like last week or something. So very recent. So it's been a progression. It's probably been about 7 or 8 months.
Yeah. And so I obviously know your story. A few people do, but it's freaking amazing. You know, you obviously had second bub. He's 2 now. But, you know, just feeling, I mean, we're not seeing your face in this photo, but what is incredible about the actual photo is the fact that you're looking down, you can't even look at yourself. And I think so many of us have been there. So talk on that. What were you feeling in that time? How was your energy? How was your sleep? All those things.
Yeah, my energy was shocking. So I would not be able to get through the day, basically. Like I would get the kids to bed. The kids would be in bed pretty early, like 7 o'clock, and I would just be dead. I'd be going to bed at 7:30. I'd be asleep. I'd be dragging myself out of bed in the morning. So like I just couldn't go on like that. Like that was really hard for me to be able to like show up and be a good mom and you know, be good in my relationship and with my friends, and I just had nothing left in the tank. So that was what really drove me to change and to try something new. Like, I think I was so skeptical and nervous about doing isogenics. But yeah, I think for me, like, yeah, and the photo, yeah, you can't see my face, but I'm looking down. I was devastated to take that photo. Like, I was so upset. I wouldn't show anybody. I wouldn't even show my partner. Like, I was like, no, I can't show you my photo. I wouldn't show my best friend. Like, nobody. I was like, nobody will ever see this. So when I decided to post it online, it was like the biggest moment for me, because I was like, how am I at this point where I'm sharing this now? Like, it was, yeah, it was
And
a big journey.
what hasn't been spoken about enough with your transformation is the fact that you didn't actually do any cleanse days because you were breastfeeding for like ages, not until really recently.
Yeah. I only started cleansing in the last maybe 2 months. So yeah, I stopped breastfeeding and decided to get stuck into the cleansing. But yeah, I hadn't cleansed for the first 6 months, pretty much.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Everyone's writing, incredible. You are incredible, woman. And you are. And, you know, a picture says a lot, but seeing you in person, you are such a mega babe. And it's not just the way that you look. I mean, your legs are so enviable, but it's your energy. You are glowing. You know, you actually feel how energetic you are. You feel that. And it's something that, like, I haven't shared a lot of before and afters that much of late, because it doesn't say it enough. It's like, actually the energy side of it and feeling your energy is so incredible.
Yeah. And I think the energy, like how I look, I feel like for the first time in my life, I started focusing on how I felt. And then how I've looked has just transformed without me even focusing on it. So like, I'm not focused now on like how I look. It's all about like how I feel, and I'm eating to feel good, and, you know, doing the things I want to do to feel good. And even the exercise coming into that, like, it's been for so long a punishment of myself to go and exercise. I have to do that because I want to look differently, as opposed to like, I want to go and do that because it makes me feel good. So that's been a really big shift for me, like mentally.
And physically, because, awesome. You know, yeah, when you do allow yourself the grace and space to just go, all right, this is about feeling good. You know, if I look great at the end of it, that's a happy byproduct. Then you actually release a lot of that cortisol, a lot of that fight or flight, because it's not putting an agenda on your body to like, God, you've got to drop this weight, you've got to be a certain way, and that stress actually does leave your body.
Yeah. So it's been it's been really good. And I think, like, as mums, we're so hard on ourselves, and we've got so much going on. Like, as much as I wanted to be somebody that would shop at the farmers market and food prep for hours and you know, set up all these salads and stuff, I just could not find the time in my schedule to do that and do that consistently. So that was it for me. Yeah.
You are amazing, babe.
Thank you.
I am going to boot you off. Or can I boot you off? Oh, no, here we go.
Okay, bye.
Bit of a rookie. Thank you, babe. Thank you for sharing. You are so incredible. Okay. I cannot speak about you highly enough.
Oh, I love you. Thank you.
I love you. All right, next one. We are going over to Steph. So I'm going to find you, Steffi, and promote you. It's a weird thing to say, isn't it? I'm promoting you. And you're muted, babe, so just unmute yourself as soon as you're on.
Sure.
Hello, gorgeous.
Hi, love. Hi, darlings. Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone. Look at this gorgeous, incredible first-time mama. Talk to me about the first photo. I mean, I love you because you've always got a smile on your face, I feel like. I don't feel like you could ever,
Totally. For me, my baby, I started in August. He was 12 months old at the time, and I'd been back at work for a couple of months, and like Sarah, like beyond tired, like exhausted, and literally like, surely this isn't it. Like, surely this is not what it's like to be, you know, living. And I can't sustain this. And so for me, same again as Sarah, it was about, you know, getting my energy back, not feeling exhausted, sleeping better. Like, you know, obviously you've got a young baby who's up and about, but still, since taking the products and getting the products into my system, it doesn't matter if we have a bad night's sleep. I still wake up and feel phenomenal and get through my entire day with oodles of energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the time, like that first photo, when I'm looking at it right now, it's like, oh God, I do remember. Like, anyway, the after photo, the face is a like very stunned face, but
But you can see the tide gone from your eyes. I mean, your waist is unbelievable. You know, you see that so much from the back photo, and you're still breastfeeding. So, you know, your body hasn't come back to yours alone yet, you know, and I think that that's so incredible. So you have been able to change so much in that time.
Totally. Yeah, that's true. And also that's the same thing for me. I haven't done any, I haven't cleansed either. So I also like want to share that with women and mums and breastfeeding mums to know that it's okay and that there is still solutions out there for mums if you are still breastfeeding, and that it's really safe and fine for you to prioritize your own health as well. Like you're not taking anything away from your baby.
No, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? So
That's it. Yeah.
Everyone's writing, amazing, Steph. I haven't heard your story before. Yay, what a beauty. You are incredible.
Oh, thanks, guys. It's super nice. And like Ceci said too, so like you start feeling good, right? And so once you start to feel good, you start to then live your whole life through that filter of like everything feels good and everything aligns and things fall into place naturally without even thinking about it. And I mean, I don't even know how much weight I've lost, to be honest, because I literally don't weigh myself.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Ditch the scales.
Oh, totally. Just for the ISA body challenges, you know, every 16 weeks or so. But other than that, no, it doesn't matter.
You are amazing. Thank you for sharing your story, babe, and more to come from you soon. I'm doing a wine and wellness with Steph, so stay tuned for more of her story because it's definitely a good one. Thanks.
Bye.
All right, next beautiful lady up is Kate. So I'm going to find you, Kate, and promote you. Promote you to new BFF.
Yay. Hello.
Yay. There you are, darling.
Thank you.
Talk to me. Talk to us.
So I'm so excited to share this photo and these results. It's funny every time I see it, and it's even more amazing, I think, that I still look like my after, which is funny to say because sometimes I've done so many different challenges for 8 weeks or more than 8 weeks, and I share my photos and then I just kind of get real straight back into bad habits. And it's been really nice to not go backwards. But I think for me, from my end, and I think some things to share is when I first started with Isogenics, I think I had a bit of buyer's regret. I sort of sent my details to Anna, and Anna will probably laugh at this if she's online at the moment. But I kind of just went all in. And as soon as I went all in, I thought, holy shit, I don't know if I've done the right thing. And everyone's opinions start kind of coming in there, right? And it's so funny how we decide what we want to do based on other people's opinions and views on things, rather than giving something a go that's right for you and what you want to do. So it was really an amazing step for me to say, yes, I'm going to do this regardless of what people are saying, and I'm going to back myself and see how I really feel, and I'm going to go all in. And what I loved about the 30 days is I just went in with no pressure. I think that was one thing that really resonated with me from Anna, is go in with no pressure, do what you've got to do. I tried a cleanse day and I thought Sunday will be a great day for a cleanse day. It's going to be a self-care day. How amazing. I can have a shower. By, no joke, 10:35, I was like, so where does the time go? Like this is 10:36, it's 10:37. And I thought, this is not meant to be a punishment. It's meant to be fun. And I meant to love it. So I thought, you know what? Let's keep going. Let's see what happens. I decided that it was like a mini morning cleanse day, if you like. And I decided to pick a different day and give it another crack at another time with no punishment on me, no guilt. It was meant to be, you know, a really nice thing that I was doing for my body. And I changed the day, and now I've cleansed every Thursday since, and it's the best thing that I ever do. And I wake up every Friday feeling incredible. But I just wanted to say that I think sometimes people, you know, you get your box and you think, oh, you know, this is it. I'm just going to do it for 30 days and just see what happens. But it's so much more than that. And it can be whatever you want it to be. which is
I
the
just
most
got a
exciting.
text message just before coming on here, and it was from a girl who's just finished her 30 days today, and she lost 5 kilos, and she said she feels
Oh,
unbelievable. Her energy's through the roof, and she's sleeping well. And she goes, so what do I do now? And I go, you repeat your 30 days. Like it's
it
almost
doesn't
this, I
end.
try not to talk too much about 30 days because I think also it puts a little bit of pressure on you to, oh, I've got to achieve so much in 30 days. And again, like you and Steph and Cez have all said, is taking that pressure off yourself and just going, okay, I'm doing this for my health. And I hope that those previous slides of seeing, you know, the detrimental thing on carrying extra weight, it's not just about aesthetics, right? It's about health. It is first and foremost. Like, who cares if you've got a hot body if you're dying, you know, like it's so important to, you know, feel good. And that was the key thing for all three of you. And I love that. And then the weight loss and you guys, again, these are photos for those of you watching the recording, but when you meet these girls firsthand, face to face, you can feel that energy. Next level.
We're just
Thank
so
you, my
fabulous,
love.
aren't we? Thanks, Alila.
Yeah, thank you. All right, I'm going to get Kate off, boot her off. Thank you guys so much for that. How awesome are they? I can see all the chat from everyone, and I'm trying to keep pushing along, but like, yes, how good. Kate's before and after was, I believe, 12 weeks. Kate, you might pop it in there. But such a short period of time. She did such an incredible job. All right. So the crowding out theory, flood the body with the good and you stop wanting the bad. That's the crowding out theory, right? It's, you know, that when we start to get lots of good in the body, we're no longer craving the bads. We don't have space for the bads, right? And that's, you know, and I say bad, obviously meaning food that doesn't serve you, okay? So this is where you've already heard everyone sort of mention isogenics, everything. Intermittent fasting is a massive thing for here. Like I mentioned, insulin, allowing your body to rest and reset, allowing your, you know, it's a cellular shower. So allowing those nutrients to get into your body, right? You would know from last week's that we incorporate shakes, right? That get flooding that body full of nutrients. Again, getting all the good in, you naturally start to not crave the bad. I think you've all probably heard this story again, but it's worth noting that my first 30 days was about day 20. It wasn't even quite all done. And I was running a Pilates studio and I was exhausted day of teaching. And I drove back home. It was a really hot night and I stopped in to get petrol and I bought a Diet Coke, you know, which you do sometimes on a hot night. And I opened the can and drank it and then like spat it out. Everyone was like, oh my God, this is poison. Something's happened here. Oh my God, I've got to go in and tell them. And I like ran into the guy at the servo and I was like, this is poison, like something's happened. It's got like petrol in it. You have to, you know, and he got a straw and taste it. It's like, it's Coke. And then I brought it back home and I was doing it to my husband and he's like, it's just Coke. And I realized, oh my gosh, my taste buds have changed. On a cellular level, this is not cutting carbs or cutting fats or cutting, you know, protein, whatever it is. This is not being crazy about diets. This is not something that just releases, you know, one thing and so you start to drop weight. This is about cellular cleansing. This is about getting to each and every one of those cells. You know, my dad, his first 30 days, he lost 12 kilos. Amazing, right? And he wasn't overweight at all. That was probably a lot of visceral fat. The next thing that happened was he would always have a cigar each night with a glass of red, and he stopped craving cigars. Like was just disgusted by them after his first 30 days and has never had another one again 4 years later and does not have the taste for it. So it goes so much more beyond obviously weight loss. I know that the topic is that tonight, but it's important to note that's what cellular cleansing is about, right? Stress reduction. My favorite product in the whole entire planet. If it was just me and a deserted island, this would be coming with me. You know, stress reduction, we've already spoken about that fight or flight, how we these days are burning that engine like never ever before. So Ionics, it's in a lot of other things. Again, I'm trying to give you just little things here. And if you're watching this for the first time, you know, hopefully you're starting to get a picture of this entire incredible wellness company. But simplicity and ease, again, a part of stress, right? I talk about this a lot. When I first got diagnosed with, got really, really sick and had adrenal fatigue, all this sort of stuff. And the doctors gave me meal plans to go home and prep, you know, and then eat this. You've got to eat every 90 minutes because the body needs to know it's been taken care of. Eat this, weigh this amount of protein, then add this. And I was like, holy crap. I thought I was meant to be feeling less stressed, and all this is done from doctors and nutritionists and stuff is making me more stressed. Enter this system. Simplicity and ease. I use the beer cans because, again, it's like, it's a drink you're grabbing from the fridge and it's full of nutrients and raw vegetables, and it's freaking amazing. And it helps your body burn fat on an incredible level. I wish I could go into it more tonight, but I can't. And obviously the shake, that's our whole blend there. So simplicity and ease, obviously a massive piece to it all. This is our full system. It's a full synergistic system. So we're talking about weight loss. That is going to happen. I mean, you've seen that tonight. There's 3 examples of thousands in the sisterhood alone, and let alone the hundreds of thousands around the world. But obviously, you know, for weight loss, that's going to happen. Trusting the system, a huge piece. So as I always like to say, you know, how you show up in your day-to-day life, in those micro moments to the movement, ends up making your years and your life. So all those little moments, those little choices end up making up your whole life, right? We want to live longer, but we also want to thrive longer. It's not enough to say anymore, but we live longer these days, right? Because of all this incredible science. But I don't want to just live longer. I want to thrive longer in every moment. And I know that you guys want to as well, right? So again, if you're watching the recording or you're on and you're new to this tonight, go back to the person that sent you here. That person is your biggest cheerleader. It's a hot tip if you haven't already known or seen or heard. And that person is also here to make it fun for you, just like it was made fun for them. And I hope that the girls helped explain that tonight. Like, this is about having fun. And I want you to go back to thinking about that dancing, you know, image, because it is about making this fun. And because diets have, if you've done a lot and you've failed a lot, you're going to feel like you're only going to fail again. And I want you to know that you're not going to fail. Not this time, not up in here. We won't have any of it. So your turn. Have you got any questions for me? I'm always trying to keep it to half an hour and I keep going just a little bit over, but shoot your questions at me. And as you're doing that, I'll go to the next slide, which is that next week, Tuesdays at 8 p.m. these are running. We're going to skin health. You might have heard of a product called collagen. If you follow me, you bloody have heard of collagen, but we're going to chat about that. We're going to chat about skin, the biggest organ. So Sam says she is a beauty queen. Steph, she is. Jess, I've tried literally every diet. This is not a diet. It's 100% a lifestyle wellness system. Yeah. And, you know, I've shown you some products there because we know that we need that right now, but you're still eating great food. You're still eating healthier food because you're naturally craving that. And you're still eating a lot of food. So please don't think this is about you never eating again. It's 100% the opposite. It's about enjoying your wine, enjoying your coffee, enjoying good foods in life, all while being able to support your body. And that's what this is really about. Yeah, I love food and coffee. Amen. Thank you guys. Thanks for having me. Thank you for being on. Thanks for your, you know, interacting as always. I love you all so, so much. I hope that the one thing you take from this tonight is to have more fun. Look after your body even more than ever before, and understand that you are not, you know, your weight. You have weight on your body perhaps, but you are not it. So this is just about you supporting you, and only you can make that decision. You know, unfortunately, none of us, even as your biggest cheerleaders, can't come over there and drag you up and make you do anything that you're not wanting to do. But I hope that if you're new to this or you're watching this recording, that you sit there and go, you know what, I'm freaking ready to have that before and after moment, you know. And you don't need to share the photos with us, absolutely not, but you know, just that moment of saying, my God, I feel so freaking good here, and I get to come alive again and turn that light switch back on inside. So I will leave it there and love you and leave you. Thanks so much for being on, guys. And we'll chat to you all soon. Ciao for now.